In Guatemala, everything is ready for presidential runoff on Sunday, following a tense electoral campaign. Ecuador celebrates early elections on Sunday in the midst of what analysts have qualified as the country's most dangerous and violent electoral period. In Canada, authorities declared a state of emergency in British Columbia and ordered the evacuation of some 16,000 people as wildfires intensify. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Rosabal from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Guatemala holds a runoff election on Sunday between candidates Sandra Torres and Bernardo Arevalo after obtaining the majority of the votes in the June 25 elections. Around 9.4 million people are eligible to vote starting at 7 local time, when the 3,500 voting centers installed throughout the Central American country opened. And according to what was agreed by the Supreme Electoral Tribunal, the voting day will extend until 18 local time, when voting centers close. The first official tallies will be known about 3 hours after the end of the voting. The current electoral process has been the most controversial in Guatemala since the implementation of democracy in 1986. The winner of the second electoral round will assume the presidency of Guatemala from 2024 to 2028 and will replace Alejandro Yamatei, who during his government has been linked to dozens of bribery and corruption cases. In Ecuador, more than 13 million Ecuadorians are called to participate in a general election to elect a new vice president and assembly members amid violence and insecurity throughout the country. According to the National Electoral Council, the process starts at 7 a.m. local time, with the opening of 4,390 polling stations throughout the country. Voters will have to choose among 8 candidates aspiring to the presidency of Ecuador, among which are Luisa González of the Citizen Revolution Movement, former Vice President Otto Sonnes of the Actuemos Alliance, Jan Topic of the Coalition for a Country Without Fear, and Daniel Novoa of National Democratic Action. The election day will be extended until 5 p.m. local time, when the polling centers close and the counting of voters begins. At this time, several Ecuadorian citizens residing in Europe report serious irregularities to exercise the vote. Despite the statements by Diana Atamait, president of the National Electoral Council, on Saturday night during a national broadcast, the telematic vote is not working. On Sunday morning, numerous Ecuadorians in Europe, the continent with the largest number of registered voters, have shared in social networks the difficulties that prevent them from voting. Telematic registration is not working in Spain or in Italy, where there are already long lines of citizens expressing their dissatisfaction. The company Ceratos of Ecuador has informed that it will not proceed with the exit polls on Sunday during the early elections due to the violent shaking in the country. Ceratos, considered one of the most important pollsters in the nation and which has traditionally participated in Ecuador's elections, informed on Saturday night that due to the serious internet crisis in the country, they will not work in the 720 electoral polling stations, nor in the 146 rural and urban localities where they have planned to be deployed on August 20th. Ecuador goes to the polls on Sunday after an election campaign marked by serious violence, including the assassination of a presidential candidate. On Saturday, the Ecuadorian presidential candidate Otto Sonnes reported a shooting incident in the front of the place where he was having the breakfast with his family. A video shared on digital platforms shows the moment in which, while the candidate was taking pictures with supporters in a coffee shop, shots are heard and everyone throws themselves to the floor. Ecuador is suffering an insecurity crisis that the government attributes to disputes between criminal gangs for the control of drug trafficking, added to the assassination of political leaders on the eve of the upcoming elections.
This morning, after a long time without being able to spend time with my family, I went out to have breakfast with my wife and daughters. A few minutes after arriving at the restaurant, there was a shooting after a police chase a few meters from where we were. This serious event is one or more example of what we Ecuadorians face on a daily basis. Today, the police acted and arrested the 5 criminals who put dozens of families at risk. My support always goes to the thousands of brave and honest police officers who are undoubtedly the majority and who will soon be better equipped and supported to help us out of this serious crisis. I want to tell you that now more than ever we will not give up and we are here to act firmly, honestly and intelligently. You have my word and I promise you that together we will move forward.
In Mexico, in the state of Nuevo León, police confirmed they rescued 41 migrants from Central American countries. According to official reports, most of the rescued migrants are from Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Ecuador, and Cuba. In the first operation, 36 migrants, among them 19 minors, were found in a house in the former Rey 115 neighborhood in the city of Monterrey, capital of Nuevo León. In the second operation, another 5 migrants were found cramped in a room at a hotel in the center of the city. The undocumented migrants were transferred to a delegation of the National Immigration Institute. Since the repeal of Title 42 of the U.S. immigration law last May, there has been a surge in the number of people attempting to reach the southern U.S. border. In the Dominican Republic, 28 people have reportedly died after an explosion in San Cristobal, a commercial zone in the south of the country. According to the report of the Emergency Operations Center, the number increased after a man who had been in intensive care since Thursday night passed away. Local media reported that the citizen had been admitted with burns on 98% of his body. Therefore, he has not yet been identified. Meanwhile, 3 of the 58 injured by the explosion remain in health units. On Monday afternoon, the powerful explosion shook the Dominican city of San Cristobal, 24 kilometers from Santo Domingo, generated a powerful shockwave of 500 meters, causing numerous fires and destroyed 4 neighboring buildings and affected 9 others. Let's take a short break. But remember, you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, new dates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Russian President Vladimir Putin visits Saturday the Army's headquarters on Rostov. Putin arrived for the meeting with the armed forces in the southern Russian city of Rostov-on-Don, where he was greeted by Valery Gerasimov, the chief of the Army's general staff. The Operation Rostov Hub was the scene of a dramatic armed mutiny led by the Wagner Group last June. The Wagner militia group briefly took over the facility before halting the rebellion, which wanted to overthrow General Gerasimov, who has rarely been seen in public since. In Canada, authorities declared a state of emergency in the British Columbia as fires intensify. The difficulties to extinguish the flames led to the evacuation of at least 60,000 people in the city of Kelowna and West Kelowna. In only 25 hours, the strength of the blazes increased by 100%, affecting small towns in the province. According to official information, it is estimated that this fire season has burned over 13.7 million hectares.
These firefighters fully engaged and fought that fire. But as an example of the coordination that the BC Wildfire Service had mentioned earlier, at the same time our crews were fighting it on the ground, their crews were flying above in helicopters dropping water on the same fire. This is unprecedented firefighting tactics that are taking place out there because of the cooperation. For us to be supported from the air the way that we were and to result in a save of hundreds of homes like that is just absolutely amazing, and it's a prime example of what's happening out there.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador announced the implementation of a preventive action plan given the proximity of Hurricane Hilary, which is expected to make landfall in the Baja California Peninsula. The president said that more than 18,000 troops have been deployed as part of the GN3 plan. The National Water Commission, in charge of monitoring the hurricane, says it remains a Category 4 with sustained winds of 215 kilometers per hour. There are warnings of possible thunderstorms, so authorities are urging the population to remain attentive of official alerts and recommendations.
We are closely monitoring the hurricane in the Pacific Ocean. The Army is already carrying out preventive actions, implementing the DN3 plan. Today, we are giving a report of everything they are doing in terms of mobilization of men and equipment. Do you have the information ready? Yet, but the genre. Only the outline? To show to the people of Baja California. This is what is being done in all command posts.
In Colombia, authorities confirmed over 141 aftershocks in the last 48 hours after the 6.1 magnitude quake that shook the city of Bogota. Government authorities offered a balance of the damage and power outages in some regions. Bogota's fire brigade reported that a 20-year-old woman died during the quake due to the panic generated by the situation, being the only fatality reported. Teams of psychological help were assigned to attend to the situation while the protocols for earthquake were activated. In Uruguay, weather authorities say the drought is over following heavy and constant rains during the last days. According to reports, over 100 millimeters accumulated in the basin of Santa Lucia River, which supplies water to the capital metropolitan area, where more than 50% of Uruguayans live. According to the weather agency, this has rarely overcome the 150 millimeters, so the soils are now practically saturated since they have a maximum water retention capacity of between 80 and 90 millimeters. The drought has been affecting every sector since 2020, with significant implications for agricultural production and water supply to Montevideo. In Spain, nearly 26,000 people were evacuated from the island of Tenerife as a result of the forest fires that have consumed over 106 hectares. According to emergency service authorities, the fire that started on Tuesday, August 15, is out of control and continues to advance northwest neighboring Santa Ursula and La Victoria. Authorities added that the rapid spread of the fire is due to strong winds, which have also made it difficult to extinguish the blaze. The Item Minister of the Interior, Fernando Grande Maralaska, who visited the island this Saturday, said after meeting with the Canary President, Fernando Clavijo, that the Civil Guard continues working to find out the causes of the fire.
The firemen are in front of the houses, and that's what I want. That's what the neighbors want. We want the firemen to stay there so the fire doesn't reach the houses, and some animals can be saved. Because my brother did take his little dogs, but not the big ones. And it's a shame. The truth is that I'm very nervous about my parents' house. They died, but my other brother lives next to that house. And we are, as you can understand, very nervous.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel, TeleSUR English, where you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, sub-stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to set up to date on the world's more recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Niger on Saturday, negotiating teams sent by ECOWAS and the United Nations arrived in Niamey, the country's capital. The delegation sent by the United Nations is led by UN's Special Representative for Africa and the Sahel region, Leonardo Simao, who have already met with junta-appointed Prime Minister Mahaman Ali Lamine Sane. Meanwhile, ECOWAS envoys will try to pursue further dialogue with the junta. The delegation includes former Nigerian President Abdulsalami Abakubar, who had already visited Niamey as ECOWAS representative on August 3rd, but could not meet with the nation's new strongman Abdurrahmani Tishiani, nor with the post-president Mohamed Bazoum. And continuing with the situation in Niger, given the possibility of an ECOWAS army intervention in the country, thousands of people are queuing to enlist as volunteers to support the army. An alleged spontaneous movement is rallying civilians to volunteer to form a support group for the army, which could fight, assist with medical care, and provide technical, engineering, logistics, among other functions. ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs and Security said Friday that they are ready to send a standby force should negotiations fail. In Gabon, the main opposition parties agreed to put forward a joint candidate for next week's presidential election to challenge incumbent Ali Bongo Ondimba. Francois Dongobian, president of the Alternative 2023 opposition grouping, selected a consensus candidate to unseat Bongo. Former Education Minister Albert Ondo Osa launched in January Alternatives 2023 and brings together 6 opposition groupings. According to Obian, now the 6 candidates belonging to the opposition alliance have all undertaken to withdraw their candidacy in favor of the consensus candidate. The 64-year-old President Bongo officially announced in July that he would run again for president.
You have before you the consensus candidate. It is up to you to mobilize in the countryside, in the village, in the towns, so that this candidate becomes the next president of the Republic, the 4th president of the Republic.
On Saturday, the Chinese People's Liberation Army Eastern Theater Command launched joint air and sea patrols around Taiwan Island. The Minister of Defense also confirmed that the Navy and Air Force will carry out military exercises in the area. According to Xi Ji, spokesman for the Eastern Theater Command, the patrols and exercises are aimed at training the coordination of military ships and aircraft, as well as their ability to exercise control of the natural areas. Xi explained that the current fighting capability will be tested. The government of the administrative region of Taiwan rejected the maneuvers. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.